Hello party people, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm covering the costs associated with living up in Evergreen, Colorado, one of the premier mountain towns. It's actually my favorite. But I'm going to cover like cost of living regarding housing, transportation, utilities, healthcare costs, food, stuff like that. So if you're into that, thinking about making a move up here, and you want to get all the info that you need, stay tuned. This is the right video for you. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Sean Murphy, team leader of the Moxie Home Partners team, and we love making videos like this about living in Colorado. So if you are into that and you want to be updated each time I put up that new hotness, hit subscribe and then hit that bell and you will be notified each and every time. Evergreen is a beautiful mountain town located just west of the greater Denver metro area. It's about 30-ish minutes downtown, known for its stunning natural surroundings and tight-knit community. It's no wonder why this idyllic mountain community is so sought after. Population is right around 9,000, not including all the wildlife. It is of course important to consider all the costs associated with making a move if you're coming across the country, or even making that jump from the front range of Denver up into the mountains. So I'm going to be covering all the costs here for you today. First, let's define the cost of living, just in case you're not sure what all this is all encompassing. So it's basically everything that you're going to be spending money on, from housing, utilities, food, recreation, entertainment, everything like that. So I'm going to cover like the main things that you need to be thinking about and the ones that are different from, you know, if you're living in Kansas. So let's first get into it. So on average, Evergreen is 20% higher than the national average. Housing prices is the biggest thing that's going to be making up that chunk of change that you're going to be putting up. It's about 65% higher than the national average. Utilities are a little bit less, 15% less, and I'm going to get into the reasons why. So let's get on into it with what to expect in 2023. Well, like I mentioned, the biggest variable that's going to be impacting your cost of living up here is going to be your housing cost. The end of 2022, so in December, was $910,000. Now there are plenty of homes that are going to be coming in, you know, like $600,000, $700,000, but if you're expecting to get something less than $500,000, it's likely going to be like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath shack, pretty old, and likely needs a whole lot of work. They come up fast, but I wouldn't really count on it. A comfortable budget to get started in Evergreen, you're probably looking around $600,000. And the average is around $1 million, so there's not that big, about $100,000 discrepancy between the median and the average, because there are, you know, multi-million-dollar properties up here, giant ranches, horse properties, things like that with tons of acreage. And then there are also a lot of like community type houses where less than an acre, small, like I mentioned, like 700 square foot property that you can get into. But if you have a family of 4 that you're coming up here and you need like 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, and you want a couple acres, you're looking probably closer to $800,000, $900,000. Factors that will affect the price of the property are going to be like acreage, slope of the property, usable space, exposure to the sun. Like if you're on the north side of the mountain with a steep cliff behind you, you're not going to get a whole lot of sun in the winter. And of course how close you are to your neighbor, because a lot of people move up here because they want to have a little bit of space, not a lot of visibility to their neighbors. And the market has slowed since 2022. If you're thinking about making a move, 2023 is a lot better than 2022 in regards to competition. We're no longer seeing $100,000 over like 20 different offers on every property. It was banana sandwiches last year, so that has slowed down a lot. But prices are still appreciating slowly, and just in the sense that the market slowed, it's gone from like 90 miles an hour to like 60, but the good properties will still hit the market on like a Thursday, Friday, and then have showings, open house, receive offers over the weekend, and they be gone by like Monday. One variable that a lot of people change their minds about when they come out here and start touring these properties with us is acreage, because if you're coming from Kansas, a lot of people with like 5 acres acres is the minimum that I often hear. 5 acres, 5 acres. But what you'll find out here is based on the slope of the property and how elevation changes. You might be close to your neighbor in proximity, but the way of the terrain, you're not going to see them, and you get that privacy that you're looking for. And so a lot of people that start off thinking I want 5 acres, they can make do with 2 or less and still feel, you know, that nice seclusion, that nice private peace and privacy up here in the mountains. Now, one of the good things if you're moving from like California or New Jersey, New York, is Colorado. We have one of the lowest property taxes in the country, which is sick. Our average effective rate is 0.48%, while the rate set in statute is 7.5%, temporarily reduced to 6.95% in 2022. Or your tax rate by the assessed value or taxable value of the property. And a lot of websites now, they'll have what the homeowner paid like the previous year in taxes, so that's a good way for you to be able to check that out. One more thing before we move on beyond just like the cost of owning the property is HOAs. So there are some HOA communities in Evergreen, but there aren't a lot. And a lot of the HOAs will just be like a fee for who's gonna cover the cost of maintaining the road. And some of them are voluntary. And so you'll see a lot of these HOAs up here, and there are a bunch of them. All these private roads, they might have their own little set of rules, but a lot of them will be like 50 bucks, 100 bucks, maybe 50 bucks a quarter, 100 bucks a quarter, something like that. And again, they're voluntary. If you like voluntary HOAs or you like no HOAs, give me a like on this video. Give me the HBO special, the Help a Brother Out special. Do the YouTube thing for me. I appreciate you appreciating me giving you this info. Now let's keep it moving on with some transportation costs that you're going to be expected to pay up here in Evergreen. While the town does have good transportation, a lot of people, this is an area that you're going to want to have your own car, and some people have 2 cars just in case one of them gets stuck. Now gas prices in Colorado, like in Denver, are lower than the national average, but up in Evergreen they are more expensive, and that's just going to be because the cost of getting the fuel up the hill is more expensive. So typically if you're going downtown for work or before you head up further into the mountains, I always say like fill up in the Front Range if you can, and then head up, because everything's gonna be more expensive at gas stations up in the mountains. And you're also gonna see that expense, just the cost of getting goods up the hill, transportation costs, will make all the prices for like household goods and groceries, they'll be a little bit more expensive than what you'll be paying downtown in the Front Range. But in Colorado as a whole, we're pretty much on par with the national average for food costs, so what you're paying there, it'll only be slightly higher in Evergreen. Now healthcare costs, I'm seeing different stats. I'm seeing that it's slightly higher for the cost to go to a doctor per visit, and then I saw other places where it's saying it's about even. So even if you're paying a little bit more for your visit cost, what we do see is that annual spending for healthcare in Evergreen is lower than the national average, and I attribute that to just the really healthy lifestyle that people live up here. It's a very active area, it's a health conscious and like nature conscious area, and you're just outdoors more often, getting after it. There's tons of hiking trails. Biking is huge. I've never seen an area with more pelotons than in Evergreen. So year-round activities, people like to get after it. People take pride in being healthy up here, and I think that attributes to just less disease, less annual healthcare costs. But that's good. A lot of my clients, they come up here and they say within like the first couple months, they immediately just like shed 5 to 10 pounds just because they're moving around, they're doing things, and they're living that life. Now energy costs and utility costs are lower than most of the country, and a lot of people are like, how does that work, Sean? Because you feel like I'm just going to be like blasting the heat all winter and it's going to be super expensive. Well, let me explain. Evergreen has a relatively like mild, high desert, montane desert type atmosphere, so very little humidity, which is pretty awesome. You don't, you know, like in Alabama when you get out of the shower and it's super hot in the summer and you're already sweating just getting ready. We don't have that there. You can oftentimes get by most of the summer by just like opening your windows. You get that nice cool cross breeze coming through the house, and that'll do it. There will be some days that you're like, it's pretty stinking hot, but for the most part, there'll only be a few of those days. And it depends on your exposure. Like I mentioned, if you're on the north side of the hill, well, in the summer, it's going to be cooler because you're going to get a lot of shade from just the mountain. But if you're on the south side and you're getting a lot of that direct sun, and that's going to be a house that you probably want some AC. But then in the winter, if you have that sun exposure, with all those windows, it's going to warm you up, keep you nice and toasty. And then another reason for the lower heating costs is because you'll just have a lot of people that are heating the house with a fireplace or pellet stove or something like that. Also, your average water bill is going to be much lower in Evergreen for two reasons I'm going to get into. One, most people don't have lawns at all. If they do have any type of lawn, it's just a small section for like the kids to go play in or the dog to go hang out in. But so if you're used to having like the most pristine, gorgeous lawn in the neighborhood with all the lines going and just a work of art, get over it. People don't care here. A lot of the lawns are just going to be native grasses, native plants, and if you do just create this like pristine, amazing lawn, really you're likely just making a buffet for the elk and the deer that are going to come in and eat it up. The second reason that water bills are lower up here is because a lot of people are just running off of well, and so if you just have the well, your water costs are just going to be the cost for the electric for your pump to get it into the house, which is nice. Other random costs that you're likely going to pay more in Evergreen for is like plowing your drive. Some people do it themselves, but a lot of people will pay somebody to come hit it when it gets deep, and that could cost easily like $100 a pop, you know, or more, depending on how long your driveway is. One last cost that you might not thought that you needed, but I think you need it, especially on those nice chilly nights and the stars are out, it's looking gorgeous. You want that hot tub, baby. So hot tub cost to heat it, cost to keep it going. Small expense, but I think it's just like one of those awesome little chill things to do when it's like a chilly night, the stars are just out and they're bumping, hop in that hot tub. Now if you're a mountain dweller up here with me and you think I missed one of the costs that people should know about, please help us out. Put that in the notes below, and if you just, or if you think I did a good job, give me some kudos in the comments. Now the cost of living in Evergreen is higher than the rest of the country, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. It's freaking awesome up here. So if you're thinking about coming out, making a trip, getting a recon trip to check out the areas, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, however you want to get in contact with me. That's what I do. That's what my team does. We love helping you guys find your perfect place, perfect neighborhood, perfect house for your situation. Find your perfect spot. You're somewhere in Colorado. Like how I did that. Hey, but we have a whole playlist of mountain living, so if you haven't subscribed, do that now, and then go check out some of the other super sweet videos that we made for you. Alright, love you guys. Have a good one.